Hey there, welcome to LSAT Demon Daily. I'm Ben Olson, that's Nathan Fox. Together we're the founders of LSATdemon.com and our weekly podcast, Thinking LSAT. This was from Kiran? Kiran? Okay. Hey, Ben and Nathan. I originally studied for the LSAT in university some 10 years ago and sat the test once. I don't remember what my official score was, but I can say in retrospect that I was studying the wrong way. I've been studying while on maternity leave and am headed back to full-time work soon. It's been about 2 or 3 months of consistent 1 hour a day studying, and although I can't quite say the LSAT is easy, it's getting easier.
Man, I'd love to hear that. 2 to 3 hours of a consistent 1 hour a day, and it is getting easier.
Yep.
Sorry, 2 to 3 months of consistent 1 hour a day, and it's getting easier. It'll continue to get easier because it is, in fact, easy. So that is awesome. We hear so much of people emailing in like, well, I haven't really been able to study because reasons. Yep. You know, my schedule, this and that. And it's like, I don't really care. Like, can you find that? If you can't find that 1 hour, then fine, whatever. It's not your time. But when someone actually does sit down and find that 1 hour a day, guess what? It's not as bad as you think, and you will be making forward progress.
I'd invite you to look at your screen time actually on your phone and see how much of that is
fuck yeah,
dedicated to unimportant shit.
Oh, delete. You think you need to like follow the news on Twitter? Bullshit. You do not. That's really
or Reddit or whatever.
Super bad for your mental health. Get off of Instagram, get off of Twitter, Facebook, whatever it is that you're looking at. You don't need that. The news is basically useless. You know, for news these days, I got the New York Times daily email. I look at that in the morning for 4 minutes. Maybe I go read a story or something, but you don't need an hour a day of news. Like, it's not actually news. It's just
or
whatever.
Social media, whatever. You remember when that show that came out on Netflix? What was that one about social media? I forgot the name of it now, but I still remember in the documentary they said when a product or service is free, you're the product, and so you have to realize that you're making someone else money by scrolling through something that's, quote, free, right?
Oh, and they're stuffing your head subliminally with all types of bullshit. It's like, well, that's like television. Mm-hmm. I do not turn on the television. You mentioned Netflix. I watch Netflix rarely. New season of Ozark is out.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
badass.
Season 4.
I watched just the first episode of that last night. I'm delighted to have that if I want to go. But it's like I'm consciously choosing, right? It's like I'm giving myself this dose of entertainment. I'm going to watch an episode. And I'm not even doing all that much of other important shit, but I'm like reading books and stuff, you know, and God, like, yeah, television. Perfect example. It's free.
Yeah.
Because they're selling you to other people. Yeah. Like the news. Oh, God, this coffee shop downstairs here in the hotel that I'm in, downstairs constantly has CNN on. God, that's pollution for your brain. That's so bad. That's just awful. That's the fucking worst. Everybody needs to shut that shit off. Speaking of that, did I ever tell you about the thing I bought on Amazon that didn't work, that I wish worked? It was a button, just one button. It's a remote control, one button. Okay. And the promise was it would turn off every TV within a certain radius. It's like auto-programmed, you know, for all the different codes or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, this is my dream because I can sit somewhere in a coffee shop or whatever. I can sit somewhere and it's got the TV on, and frequently I'll be the only person in the area with the TV. And it's like, I don't want that on. I don't want this like constantly flashing lights and trying to get my attention, you know? And it's I just want to be able to turn it off, you know? Anyway, I bought it, but it didn't fucking work.
Nothing happened.
No, it didn't work at all. But I want one of those so badly.
This guy's like trying to hold. You're holding your hand up. Everybody's like, "What's that guy doing?" Like, damn it!
It would be, it's my dream because I would sit down and I'd turn that thing off and start working, and then people would be, I wouldn't do it if people were watching it. I'm not a dick, but like if it's just this distraction that fucking nobody needs that shit. You don't want that shit. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Cool. Well, so this correspondent continues. I've heard repeatedly that 1 focused hour a day is adequate time to study for the LSAT, but for how many months? I'm curious to hear from both of you on how long is too long based on your years of teaching experience.
How long is too long?
I don't know that we have an answer to that. I mean, gosh, if you're spending years on the LSAT, maybe it's time to give up and do something different.
What are your goals?
Yeah.
I don't know. I had a student back in San Francisco. This was 10 years ago. It changed my perspective completely. I'll be honest. I did not think that this dude was going to make it. This dude started at 139.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, and started at 139. And that wasn't the kiss of death. The kiss of death was started at 139, studied, it looked like to me, actually doing the work, studying pretty hard for a period of months, and was still like stuck in the mid 40s or, maybe cracked 150. And I was like, boy, this is looking like an uphill battle for you, and it turned out though, that dude wanted it.
Yeah.
He was a military guy, had the work ethic.
Yeah.
And 2 years later, he tells me that he had gotten like a 171 on his official LSAT. He was in law school going for free. And but like he was on the grind for 2 years plus, because he had a long way to go. It did not come easily to him. And as it turned out, he wanted it enough to actually do it.
That's awesome. And it's funny you say that, because that reminds me of this student I had a long, long time ago. Her name was Bethany, and it's the exact same story. She started in the 130s. She took the class, by the end of the class it was like low 140s.
Yeah.
But like super, you're like, okay, wow, that was a struggle.
Maybe this isn't the right path for you, which is okay too, right? Like, how badly do you really want this? Because if you don't want it really badly, then maybe this isn't the thing for you.
Yeah.
And then what happened with Bethany?
Well, so the class is over, and there was I had some like resources that were available for people after they finished the class for several months, and she used those, and she would ask me questions, and then like the questions kind of got fewer and far between. But then 13 months out, it's like I get an email. It's like, hey, I was doing this question, and here's why I'm stuck between C and D. And I've been looking at other people's explanations, and I'm not sure that they're right, whatever. And I give her an explanation. And then another 6 months later, finally, she ended up with a 171.
Yeah.
And she went to
that's like exactly the same story.
Somewhere, I don't know if she went to Michigan or what, but I was just like, it was 2 years later. It's like, hey, Ben, I'm at Michigan. I got a 171. I wanted to thank you for all your help, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I don't know how much I did there. I answered a few emails along that long journey.
Yeah.
But she did it.
But that's like
it's a totally life-changing experience.
Yeah. I mean, she was a lawyer.
Yep.
All along, right? She demonstrated that.
Yeah.
By this like relentless desire to just keep grinding.
Yep.
She knew that eventually it was going to make sense for her.
Yeah.
And she made it make sense, and she got there. So yeah, for Kiran, I don't know. I mean, for like normal people, 3 months, 6 months. Like for me,
give it a go. It's not working. Oh. Maybe let it go.
For me, yeah, give it a go. If I'm not immediately killing it, give up, because as it turns out, I'm not a lawyer. I had no business trying to be a lawyer. I don't have the work ethic. I do not want it.
Yep.
And the test came easily to me, but law was not going to come easily to me. And so, yeah, it's like, well, yeah, if you know what lawyers do, you really want to get into that. If it's a burning desire and you just aren't going to be able to sleep at night unless you become a practicing attorney, then I don't think there is such a thing as too long.
I agree. And I wanted to say one other thing here. She's putting in an hour a day, a consistent 1 hour a day, which is great. But if you can do an hour and a half, we don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to do, 2 hours a day, 4 days a week. And then that gives you enough momentum and progress that you then feel even more motivated to keep coming back and doing that hour or 2 hours or hour and a half, depending on how busy you are. So we don't want people going crazy. People email us and they're like, hey, I'm doing 4 hours a day, or I'm doing 6 hours a day. I just quit my job. It's like, whoa, you're hurting yourself. That's too much. You can't do that effectively. But 1 to 2, that's a good range.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thanks for writing in. Email daily@lsatdemon.com if you'd like to ask us a question or share some LSAT or law school admissions news. Thanks for listening.